Hello friends, here's another video for the fall class by mail, and this one is going to be the Ferns card that has the green florals and the striped paper in. Now you'll have your card base that I've already scored for you, a piece of designer series paper, a piece of embossed white cardstock, a label, a circle, two die cut leaf pieces, and this fun little patterned piece, as well as you'll have a gem from the faceted gem set. So I put one of those large gems in your kit. So before we get started on the card, just go over a couple of things from the catalog, just so you know where to find these. On page 108 and 109 of the annual catalog is the big display of this set. I really love this one. We're using some of the designer series paper, so you're going to see there's the stripe one in there. And then a couple of these papers, this one and this one right here, the dies from the bundle actually cut those leaves out. So that made it really nice for me to be able to do this kit, because as I've mentioned, I can't stamp things for you, and we're used to you coming to class here in person, and we can pass stamps and inks around and get, you know, our cards all finished that way. But through the mail, I either have to include a stamp set in the kit, which can make the price of the class go up quite a bit, or I just have to use dies and embossing folders. So it was really cool to see that some of the dies from this set actually cut out images right from the designer series paper. So that really made it nice. So this is the stamp set Forever Fern, and I always put my coordinating dies on a magnet sheet inside my stamp set, just so everything's together. But there's quite a few dies in this set. I love this big leafy one. One of the dies we used on a previous card. And then we're going to use this one. I used this one to cut out the paper. And then there's two of these because one of the designer series paper has the fern going in two different directions. So you might have one pointing that way or one pointing that way in your kit. But it was kind of neat that they had both of these in the die set for us to be able to use. So that's that set. And again, that's page 109, and on page 110 is the actual stamp set, so you can see it, and the dies are in the back. We're also using, for this label one, we're using the Stitched So Sweetly die set. I have had that from I bought that with another stamp bundle quite a while back, earlier this year. And it's very handy. We used this, this large rectangle piece on the card that has the metallic thanks word. So I used that for that card, and now I'm using this one label piece for this card, and that's on page 179 of the annual catalog. And then the stitched shapes I used that for the white piece, and again, I really like the stitching on it. This is a very useful set. The circles, 4 of each, circles, squares, and ovals that all kind of nest inside each other, so that works really well. And then finally, I embossed with the tin tile 3D embossing folder, and that's on page 185. So those are the main products I used for this card. So let's get started. So I already scored your card, and the reason is because it's not a full card, so I wanted to make it easy for you to know where to fold your card so it fits perfectly in one of those A2 envelopes. So give that a good crease, and then your embossed piece is going to fit on the left side of the front of the card. So remember, I mentioned in in the other class, the other card, that I really like that look of tone on tone with embossing. I just think it's really pretty. So I did that here as well. So adhesive on the back of that piece, and then go ahead and glue that down. It's a pretty thin, pretty narrow border around it. So it's a bit of a tight fit. But that looks really pretty on the front of the card. I just love that. So pretty. And then I don't know if you know, but I love stripes. And I just love these kind of not perfect stripes on the one side of this designer series paper. Now this is very pretty too. On the other side, I really love this because I just love the mix of, I think it's like Old Olive and Pretty Peacock. Very pretty, but we're gonna go with the stripes. So go ahead and put some adhesive on the back of this. Now I did cut this patterned paper to fit right top to bottom on your card here. So it's up to you. I am going to leave a little bit of an edge here, but it's going to fit right to the top and bottom, and you might have a little bit to cut off. It might be just a bit longer than you need. So I'm going to start at the bottom just because if I have to cut any off, this is pretty narrow. And then I'm going to just try to keep it even all the way up. Put that down, and then if I have a little bit, looks like I have a little bit hanging off the edge, I'm just going to go in there and just trim that off. So this way I only have to trim one edge and not potentially the top and bottom. Not that it's that much more work, but okay. And so that's what we have now on our card. And then I'm going to go ahead and start layering these pieces. So I think I'm going to mount the white with dimensionals so that it pops up a little higher. But it's kind of a fun way to mix your different die cuts together because these are from 2 different sets. And so it's fun to kind of mix them. And yeah, this, so just so you know, this one piece of white, I'm not stamping on this. This is actually packaging. This was one of the background pages, or the backing, I guess, backing paper in my designer series paper pack. And so I just use that. Waste not, want not, right? No one's gonna see that, it's on the back. I'm just cutting my mounting tape. I'm gonna put it on the back here. Remove those backings. And then place this on this other label. And I'm just going to do my best to try and center it. I try not to get too worried about it being perfect. Okay, and this piece is going to go right here on the card like this, and so it's going to just flip up that way, like that. So now I'm going to build my 2 pieces on here. And like I said, it was so nice to be able to die cut right from the designer series paper. Let me just grab a piece of that so you can see. I'll be right back. Okay, so here's a piece of the designer series paper, and as you can see, I've die cut some pieces out of it. So if we pull out, remember this is the one that I said they had two dies that work for it. So if you can see, it just lines right up on there to die cut that one, and then here's the one going the other direction. There's one right there. And so I just love that. I think that's such a good way to get more mileage from some of your products. Okay. So how I want this to go together is I want this guy to go right along the bottom edge of this circle like that, because it's just perfect. And so I'm going to tuck in these two fern pieces into that. So like so. And I think I want a little dimension on them versus them sitting really flat. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to put some dimensionals or mounting tape up here at the top of both of these pieces, but then glue dot or other types of adhesive glue, flat glue down near the bottom. So they'll kind of pop up at the top, if that makes sense. So I'll go ahead and put liquid glue, not too much, down at the bottom. Okay, like that. And then I'm going to put a little bit of mounting tape or dimensionals, whatever you have handy. So let's see. Put this one here. Ooh, not too high. I don't want it to show on the edges. There, like so. And then this guy can have two pieces. Actually, I think I'll cut it. That's probably enough, actually. So this one I'm going to put down first because it's my larger piece. And the other one will go a little bit over top of it. All right, so we'll see how that gives it some nice dimension, and I'm going to do the same with this one. Just hold the end where the glue is, give it a second to adhere, and then I'm going to use this liquid glue on this one. I'm going to just stay close to the center going down, because some of that might need to kind of just pop up on the edges. I'm going to kind of let it sort of go along that stitched line. That so my center piece, I just kind of went right along this stitched line, and then just hold that down a little bit. And then that piece is done. How pretty is that? And then we have, I like these faceted gems. They're so pretty. There's like some little lines in some of them, and just makes them look really pretty. So we're going to use this one that's in your kit, and I'm going to put that right in the center of that. I don't know what that's called, some kind of medallion type thing. Flourish type, I don't know, I'm sure there's a word for it, but there, put that right in the center like that. And now I'm going to attach it to my card, and this is where you want to make sure that you're only putting adhesive on the one side so that you're not gluing your card shut. So be careful with that. So a little bit more than half, and that'll get it nice and centered on that card. So I'm going to go ahead and use this adhesive. I'm going to just start at the halfway and put plenty on, because we are working with an embossed piece over here, so you want to make sure that you're going to have enough adhesive for it to really stick. And then just do your best to center this. And then there you have your card. I think that's super pretty. And there you go. Thank you.